days a week?
Well, started off with 2, then COVID, and now I'm just getting back now because they moved everything around and had to go out and lots of confusion. So now I'm 1 day a week.
Okay.
So
And what do you do?
I do whatever needs to be done. There's lots of filing. You have a file called Peterson file. And there's, it's the thing nobody wants to do.
Judy Peterson file?
The Judy Peterson file. Yeah.
Why nobody wants to do it?
When I first started, that's how they broke me in. They said, you're doing this like 15 drawers of general information of every newspaper ad and whatever. It's like gumbo soup. When you're looking for things, that's where we go to find them, and you don't know where to look. So I did that. I did 5 years or 4 years, the whole 4 years of the old deeds that are down in the assessor's office in that horrible vault they call a vault. There's cement just crumbling around them. They're going to disappear in a
What?
year.
Are they not digitized?
I did it.
You digitized them,
I made a report of them.
right?
And
Inventory.
yeah,
and
yeah,
inventory.
Excel's program
Nice.
did it that way.
Yeah.
And they said when City Hall gets their technology, they will put them out online or whatever. So I don't know if it's
Were
still
they
done or
all
not.
scanned? They were all
But they
scanned?
weren't scanned.
I didn't scan them.
No, you just inventory.
I just inventoried them.
And they're the actual
The
old
Thought I heard somebody up there.
papers
deed.
of houses and buildings. Oh, wow.
That's
far
important.
back-
That's
how
important.
far back
Get
do
lost
they
here.
I think somewhere in the 1700s, I had a couple of those. Most of them are turn of
You
the
didn't see
century.
Bob out there
19
wandering
Yeah,
around.
he just pulled in
1800,
actually.
1800.
We're looking for.
I don't know if he knows where the room is, but he did pull in.
What are you looking for? What?
We're
That's a
looking
good
for
first step.
deeds
Yeah.
about Lanes Cove, the Cape Division
Oh,
and
okay.
Upland.
That's
Um,
it.
Hi, Tim Quinn.
Hi, Tim.
Nice to meet you.
Sue Wright.
Tim Quinn, nice to meet you guys.
Lillian Olmsted.
I'm sorry, my ears just got blocked today. I don't know what's going on.
Oh,
So,
Lillian Olmsted.
oh, Lillian. Okay, thank you.
Susan, are you doing notes? Tim, as who's?
Susan did great notes last week. I'm sorry, I forgot to re-comment back with mine, but I did read them. I didn't have any additional comments.
Susan's not taking notes tonight.
Can you take?
Yeah, that's fine.
I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Or minutes, I guess is the proper term. Bob is on his way. Maybe we should get started. Well, we'll give him 5 minutes. We are on the Zoom. Oh, there he is. All right, I think we're all here. We've got our Zoom meeting up and running, We're being recorded, so anything you say can and will be used against you. So, according for history, can I just make one suggestion right up front to, right after we do the minutes approval, can we switch 2 and 3? Because, Melissa and Russell Hobbs are here, talk about the Lanesville market proposal. And I don't know if you're welcome to stay for the whole meeting, but Russ, based on your day, you probably don't want to. You know, working in the heat.
Yeah.
If nobody has any objections, I'll just make that switch. But let's start off with the approval of the July 8th minutes. Though they've been sent around, any issues, anything anybody wants to bring forward about them?
When were they sent?
I sent them with the agenda a week and a half ago or so. So why don't we just vote on that, Tim?
Those June.
July 8th was the.
July 8th. Okay, I did write that right. Yeah, I kept good notes on that and
Yeah.
it looked fine. So
Hey, Lillian. Oh, yep. Susan,
Yes.
I'm sorry, I know we've been doing introductions as been coming in, but why don't we do that now, officially? Susan, I know you're here. We'll talk
Right.
about involvement in the Historic Commission when we get to that agenda item, but, why don't you?
That's
just
fine. I'm just
officially-
here to observe.
Yeah.
Really, just to observe and see how your meetings run and what's important to you and what you're working on. That's all.
And Melissa and Russell, you can introduce yourselves. I just did, but, maybe
Okay,
just.
Melissa Hogg.
Russell Hobbs.
Yeah, and if they look familiar, they did get awards at the recent Preservation Award meetings. They were dressed up as characters. I mean, not
Characters, all right.
historic characters.
We are.
Um, Can't forget it. They've been heavily involved in not only like these, yeah, the cemetery commission, but many things, primarily in the Lanesville area of Gloucester. The fish stack restoration, the playground, Rebecca's playground, establishing that. The little
Virginia Lee Burns.
Virginia, yeah, writing cottage there, and there's a lot of other things too. So anyway, since we're talking about them, what they're doing here tonight is Russell, they had a meeting, I guess a display last week, Lanesville Stories, and the turnout was excellent. But throughout that whole weekend of talking about Lanesville and the history of Lanesville and so forth, Russell came up with the idea, and I don't know if this just popped in your head at that point, or whether you've been thinking
I've
about
been
this.
thinking about it for a long time.
That there is no marker in Lanesville that indicates where the original Lanes, John Lane homestead was, which was the official establishment of Lanesville in 1700. And I agreed, I think it'd be a great idea, and I thought it'd be great to bring it before this commission to get the support of this commission. I think the heavy lifting is going to be done by Russell and myself and others in Lanesville. The Lanesville Historic Association hopefully will get involved. But it's a city project. It's going to need input from this commission. It's going to need DPW support, and so forth. So I wanted it to be visible and raised at that level. We are going to reach out to Sandy. In fact, I already did. Sandy Barry, about their effort to put in was it the 1812? No,
The Battle of Gloucester.
Battle of Gloucester marker, and what they went through to do that, how, the steps they went through. So anyway, but to give this some validity, Russell has done, and Melissa, you as well, have done a tremendous amount of research on Lanesville, and kind of have come to a point where you think, we think we know where this should be placed roughly, but can you just give a rough overview of why we think this is legitimate? And
Well, I
where?
just read what I wrote.
Sure.
And I can leave the copies here for you. Just for the record, I'm Russell Hobbs. I live at 1166 Washington Street in Lanesville, Ward 42. Thank you for the opportunity to address the commission. Gloucester is made up of many small villages, each with its own history. Lanesville is one of them. Lanesville was a fishing and farming village long before the granite industry, and takes its name from one of its early settlers, John Lane and Dorcas Wallace Lane. John Lane and Dorcas Wallace Lane came here in the late 1600s and acquired lots 1, 2, and 3 of the Cape Division, totaling 18 acres from Nathaniel Day in 1700. In 1704, John was granted by the Common Council 10 acres of upland surrounding Flatstone Cove, where he built a homestead on a flat stone with his wharf, warehouse, and flake yard nearby. Over the years, he had amassed approximately 63 acres of land in the area. Upon his death in 1737, 38, one of those 20 years, he willed the land to his wife and children, keeping it in the Lane family. Blackstone Cove became Lane's Cove at some point after his death. In 1786, Aaron Wheeler bought the properties from John and Dorcas Lane's grandson, Ambrose Finson, 200 pounds. Wheeler divided the flake yard in 1799 into 10 lots, sold them to the fishermen of what was then and is now called Lane's Cove. In 1854, the new postmaster, Levi Denon, needed a name for the village, and it is rumored that he called us Lanesville. At the recent two-day event at the Lanesville Community Center, my wife, Melissa, and I gave a presentation called The Forgotten. We focused on some of the people that are the history of Lanesville, including John and Dorcas Lane and their story. We went on to explain 2 generations. It takes about 2 generations to be forgotten, unless someone says your name. Shares your story or preserves your history. There are many monuments, statues, and plaques around the city. They memorialize the people and events that are our history. In Lanesville, there is nothing about John Lane and Dorcas Wallace. We would like the support of the Gloucester Historical Commission as we pursue preserving the legacy of John and Dorcas Lane and the history of Lanesville. The plaque dedicated to them in a landscaped area at Lane's Cove. Just one last thought. 28 acres that he acquired from 1700 to 1704, 6 different trees were the boundary markers. It would be fun to plant those 6 trees again. Those trees were a beech tree, hemlock, a pitch pine, a white oak, a red oak, and can't remember the other one, but there was 6 trees that marked the boundaries, 4 that marked the 18 acres, just 4 trees.
And you know what those acreage is now in today's,
We have pretty close reference to where that stuff is. Melissa's mother transcribed John Lane's probate record, all the land separation, and his inventory of what he owned. And we have other deeds that are being transcribed where John Lane is giving to his sons property, especially parts of the wharf, the warehouse, and the flake yard, which was near his dwelling house, which went into Flatstone Cove. The wharf was in Flatstone Cove. I have photographs there of different things that I believe are connected, not back in the 1700s, but in the late 1800s, that show a piece of a wharf next to the big fish house that's there. And we know where the flake yards are because we transcribed all 10 deeds for the flake yards that were sold in 1799. A book on that. So we really just need something that for generations to come will understand how Lanesville became Lanesville. So that's our pursuit.
And they happen, John and Dorcas happen to be my 7th great grand.
But we have skin in, she has skin in the game.
As you said the other day, they didn't leave you any of the land.
Not even-
Is Lane's Cove still privately owned in 10 lots, or is it?
No, Lane's Cove is owned by the city of Gloucester.
Okay.
The Conservation Commission
Okay.
oversees that.
The thing with Lane's Cove, John Lane never actually owned the cove.
Sure.
He owned the uplands all around it, all the way up until where the cemetery is, and probably beyond. at some point. But, got a pretty good idea. Everything is.
Yeah, so it is city land. It is gonna take, at the very least, the approval of this commission, and hopefully support of this commission, like I said, to get the DPW involved and so forth and communicate it out. So, and I know we have enough projects to do. But again, I don't think that the ask is for hands-on involvement other than myself in this. The ask is really support, publicity, support with the DPW and forth. So I'd like to make a motion that we make it an official project. And we'll come back with a plan. Because right now, it's a twinkle in Russell's eye and it's a great idea, but we have to put some meat around it.
Right.
But I make a motion that we at least make an official project. Yes,
So then, do I understand it is a historical commission project with help from the Hobbs? I thought it was the Hobbs project and they needed a letter of support from us.
no, I don't think a letter of support at this point is. I think it would be better if it becomes a official project. And that not just the Hobbs, but also others within the Lanesville community, like myself and others on the Historical Association, do the work.
Why wouldn't the Lanesville Historical Association take this up?
Well, it can. It's just that they don't, or we don't have the clout. Can't really address it at the same level as the Historic Commission can.
And nobody has talked to Sandy yet to see what was involved with
No,
actually doing a plaque.
not yet.
So we
We've
don't really
exchanged
know
email.
what's involved.
No, we don't. That's why I'm thinking if we come back with a proposal, then we can really understand what it's involved at that point. I mean, it's gonna be some work, it's gonna be some research, it's certainly gonna be some fundraising. The ask isn't for that work to be done by the Historic Commission. It's really the backing and clout of the Historic Commission. Bob, you look like you wanted to say something.
Well, just one more. Do you have any idea where you might get funding from?
Well, we're gonna look to the community. Definitely look to the community.
Mhm.
We gotta figure out the cost. We gotta figure out what, if we can use what Sandy Berry did at the fort, on the fort. We'll know, have a good idea of that type of cost. But when we renovated the fish shack, you wouldn't believe the community effort that went into that.
Yeah.
We actually gave money back to the city. We got a grant from the city, from the CPA, CPC.
We just put a new roof on.
We didn't use it.
Didn't use a cent of city money. We haven't used a cent of city money on that shack since I've been involved in all our projects.
That's a city-owned property.
Yeah.
So the community, I think the community would get behind this very easily. And we'll address the fundraising part.
Mhm.
We need the plan and we
Right.
need people to help back us and say, this is a great idea.
I would imagine it'll take a little bit of money to do a plan.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
yes.
You're gonna need to make appointments, we'll have a committee
Yep,
and work on getting some funding.
yep. And we're gonna
Plan.
get it by the Conservation Commission.
Right.
Because they're in charge of Lane's Cove.
Yeah, that's one of the
Right.
things, first thing I was gonna ask is where in Lane's Cove did you propose putting this landmark and supposed like green or whatever you wanted to do for it?
Well, there's a spot, usually where the porta potty goes, somewhere in that general area, right? That's where it used to go.
Yeah.
There's a corner of ledge that's in there.
Mhm.
And right now it's all overgrown. But that's probably the closest you're gonna get to the private property where the house actually stood.
This is on the fish stack side
Yeah. Yeah.
of the cove, so the right-hand side of the cove, if you're looking down into it.
I guess, do you know what Lanes Cove Road is?
Yes.
Okay. So if you're on Lanes Cove Road, if you're heading towards the fish house, the main fish house, it would be on the right-hand side where the whale bone used to be and, in that general area.
So for those of us who are not familiar,
Okay.
this is.
I know, it's what,
Burnett.
Yeah.
but it's an area off the road. We would never be able to put it on somebody's private property where this place probably stood. We would be nearby, and the plaque would have to say, near this site. Something like that, John and Dorcas Lane's house homestead once stood, because it all points to 20 Andrew Street. Everything is pointing to 20 Andrew Street. However, 20 Andrew Street and 24 Andrew Street were pretty much combined at one point. So the exact spot is probably difficult. But in one of the deeds from 1737, John Lane giving to his sons, it says, "The wharf, warehouse, and flake yard are by my dwelling house." So it's not far from where the wharf entered Flatstone Cove.
Not a huge spot of land anyway.
Right.
Probably throw a rock between the wharf and where
Right,
this.
and you have to understand what Lane's Cove would have looked like. How the granite piers and landing, how it looks today. It would have looked totally different. I actually, on our presentation, I took a photo, an aerial photo. I borrowed an aerial photo from online and erased all the Granite Industries building. And you see a difference for what Lane's Cove would have looked like to John Lane. Take a ride down Lane. Have you been to Lane's Cove? Never been to Lane's Cove?
I know there's a cemetery there. Is that where you're talking?
The cemetery's up on the hill.
Yeah, this is the other side of
That was part of John Lane's land.
Is it on the water side of this property you're talking about, or is it the other side?
Lanes Cove Road.
There's like a brook that goes.
So
yeah.
when you're coming
Well,
from
you know, the
Foster,
brook was part of his property.
coming
okay.
to
Yes,
Lanes.
his property went all around Lane's Cove up to what's Washington Street now.
Okay.
They called it the main road. They called it
That's
the
the
main.
other spot where the road goes
Yeah.
down.
That's fascinating.
He
Yeah.
Way
donated
further
the
out,
property
yeah,
for
yeah.
capital
I don't know.
Cemetery.
I guess look.
for a cemetery, for a
Right.
burial.
Yeah, and I've been there too.
I've been at the cemetery. I know what you're talking about with the two piers. Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you get out of the cove, you get.
I mean, at this point, it's gonna have to be all in the proposal, but again, because like I said, the DPW, the, probably the Waterways Board, probably the, Conservation Commission. We need to before we do any work other than the proposal, we want to make sure that all of these commissions are in line.
And be supporting us, because we don't want to have to fight for the right.
Yeah,
We want to make it a little easier and people understanding that these boards are on board.
the idea of you being, property, what am I?
Over here.
Correct.
Okay, and,
Some landscaping.
that's some landscaping, that doesn't seem like it's really.
Yeah, because that red is 20.
And if we can plant some trees,
The site is
maybe the
about
trees are on
200
the other
there.
side of the cove, on the west side.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
I think that the.
It's right at the cove, so.
Support on that.
Yeah.
And I don't see where the conservation commission would be, opposed to it, but you have to go before them.
here's a
We have to have a plan to do that.
Yeah, I would do that, and once you get that clear, and you're gonna meet with Mike Hale and tell him what you're thinking about.
Yeah, Mike know Mike very well.
Yeah, well, that's good. And he can probably give you some ideas of how to go about this.
Right.
Too, and then when you get all that kind of thing going, then you got some support.
Right, that's what I
Yeah.
want, support.
Yeah.
Behind this.
And I think We haven't voted on it, but
Right.
I think there's like a sense of support here from the historical commission, what you're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's more acceptable, I guess. Would you prefer as a group that we come with a proposal first and
Yes,
then make it official project? If it agrees?
yes, I'd like to know what's into, what, how much time it's gonna take us, because this is what I'm looking at.
Yeah,
I'm looking at, we have way more projects than we have staff to do. Your idea is fabulous. It needs to be done. But if you just want our blessing, that's about all I'm willing to give up of any of our staff.
And I think you're right.
So
Yeah,
I
they
would
don't
like
need
to
more than
more
that
of a
from us.
proposal. I'd like more legwork, more meetings done with DPW, with conservation. Line these people up, talk to Sandy, find out how much it costs.
But at that point, do they even need our support?
well, that's the thing.
Maybe, maybe not.
We would prefer to have the
I
historic.
do
commission.
want the support.
Yeah,
You will get our support, but how much work, legwork,
Yeah, I
time
don't
that it takes us is a different.
I think that would be out of our realm anyway, to do that.
What's
To-
that?
To do that work would be a little bit out of our, what we would normally be doing. In this kind of a thing, because it's their idea, and then what they're doing. They don't need us for that.
I kind of agree with you only in the sense that if you guys do end up doing the legwork and we approve it and then they want to apply for funding, say through CPC, we have to submit that. They can't. So
And that's it.
they
no, we can submit CPC.
No.
separately as a committee.
CPA funding.
Or- Okay.
So let us, what,
CPA.
That's
Just
true.
a letter of support,
Yeah.
that's all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're really just looking for you to say, that sounds great. That's
It
something that we
does.
can agree with.
And a letter from the board and whatever, like, if we have to go through funding, I can't get the funding, but.
right,
Yeah.
right.
you
Yeah.
may not even need CPA.
Right.
CPA funds for this. I think you probably can get support. Like you said, there's a lot of people that are interested in this type of thing.
Yes.
Especially that area.
Yeah.
Support, I think it's super wonderful. They have a lot of support throughout the city. That area is really supportive. Yeah.
So actually, one of our projects that we completed a few months ago was going through Blue Fish's research files that the museum now owns. And she had one bin of building and houses research files. We were interested because we thought perhaps that backed up the historic house plaque program that she had put in place since 1987. They distributed about 100 plaques. And we thought maybe this bin had her research in it, which it did not. There was only, right. But my point in telling you this is she had quite a good sized folder about Lanesville.
Yeah.
And
She lived in Lake.
She lived in
Yeah.
that piqued my interest because I didn't know. That's when I learned there was John Lane and, and I looked through her and I thought this needs to be out there. So I'm all for it. I just don't want to give you any of our time.
I
No,
get
and
it. I get it.
I know that, I knew that up front. I mean, we're not asking for your time, we're asking for your support and your backing. So other than maybe a couple of lines in the minutes for a few meetings. That's something
Like
you'd have to do.
updates,
Yeah, but other than that, no. So why don't we leave it at this? Why don't we just say that we will do a preliminary proposal. We can talk to Sandy. Russ, you and I can work on that and listen, I don't want to volunteer you too, but maybe.
Oh, she's hook, line, and sinker.
Okay. And we'll come back to this council and then our commission, I should say. And at least we can get official support, whether it's a letter, whatever, before we go to the other departments and commissions around the city. I just think we need to start somewhere.
Start somewhere.
And I think the first thing we're gonna hear is, well, do you have the support of the historic commission? We'd like to have that support. So why don't we leave it at that?
Yep.
And Russell will
Awesome.
talk more on it. And
Absolutely.
So I
You
have
know
down
it.
here in the minutes that Ralph and Russell will be putting together a preliminary proposal.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then come back to the, come
And
back to
you'll
us.
be doing that under the hat of Lanesville.
yes,
So historic.
yeah. Yeah, because we don't have enough to do here. We need more to do.
We'll get people involved. That's
Oh,
all.
absolutely. That's never been a problem. Okay, well,
All right.
thank you very much.
Thank you for
Thank
giving
you
us the
for-
time.
Thank you for doing this. It's a
No
great
problem.
project.
It's gonna be good. We like a good project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, see you, honey. All right, administrative topics. Suppose we should talk about membership first. Just as a side note, I did reach out to answer me,
Maureen, Melissa,
no, Maureen at the museum,
Kathleen?
Kathleen.
Uh-huh.
I assume at this point she's not interested because I've reached out twice now and she hasn't responded, so no,
Okay.
no reason in a third time, I think.
Yeah.
I
I actually was introduced to somebody through email today who was interested.
saw that, yeah.
And he wasn't able to attend this meeting. So he's an archaeologist. He lives in Magnolia. And he already gave us some good ideas. So he'll try to come to the next meeting.
Did you forward that to us? That email? Oh, okay. I was gonna say, I didn't see that come through today. Do you have his name or
Mark? It might be preliminary
Okay.
to
Mark, question mark? And then Susan is the other one, right?
Yep. Yeah, I don't know if you want to say anything,
Yeah.
Susan, or just observe. It's up to you. But I don't want to put you on the spot.
Oh, I see. If I'm allowed to stay, I'd love to stay
Oh, you mean for the,
for the town. Oh, I'm sorry because I can't.
that's okay.
hear.
You mean stay the rest of the meeting?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Is that what you
Sure.
meant?
No.
What did you mean?
I meant to do, if you'd like to say anything about your interest in the commission, are you interested? What's your level of interest? Anything like
Oh,
that? What
okay.
Your background?
It's, what is my level of interest? I think being in the archives, I always had interest in older homes. And I love, picking up information here and there about them. And I live just above Middle Street where they all are and they all exist there. And I walk by them many times during the week. So I'm a painter. My business was a house painter. So that brought me into some areas. I did the Yankee Clipper Inn. I did a house the inn at Cove Hill. I did almost all of them. The Bullfinch House in Rockport. That has I don't know what happened to it. I did it so long ago. It was my hand sort of still on the walls, the wallpapering I did. So those kinds of things. I worked with Russell in doing the cemetery work there, the Clark Cemetery. What else can I say? Only if you ask me a question.
Yeah, I know.
Then I can answer it.
So,
But I'm sort of a person that likes to come to the rescue.
mhm.
When I hear you and when I hear Susan say, look at all this stuff I gotta do. I said, well, here's 10 fingers to see if I can help in any way. Initially, I think I brought it up to Bob. I was interested in how you got the signage on the homes. Do you have a seeker out there looking for homeowners that are living in these houses that need a sign? And maybe you need help in that direction. I don't know. I'm painting a sign as we speak. And I have another one for the archives. It'll be up on the wall probably next week or so. But just, it's doing it with stencils and trying to stay within the lines. But
What about? We need a lot of help with, and I'm gonna run it next year, but things like the award ceremony, putting together brochures, putting together the certificates themselves, preparation for I'm using the award ceremony.
Like
as
an
an example.
event coordinator.
Event, yeah,
Nah.
yeah, that type of thing.
Well, number one, I don't have a computer or internet. So anything that has to do with that, I have to go to the library
Oh, okay.
and do. So, yeah. I don't, we could talk about it.
Yeah,
This is
Yeah.
just my, let's get to know each other meeting.
yeah, and I'm not trying to pressure you.
Maybe you don't like me after tonight. and
Oh,
I'll
that's
leave.
impossible.
I don't know. This is all recorded.
Yeah.
Okay. Question?
You have a way of getting an email?
I do.
You do, okay. And that's how you found out about tonight's meeting, and,
Right. And I talked to you on the phone a little
Right.
bit.
okay, yes, yeah, I didn't know where the meeting was at that time, so I had this email, I sent it to you, I put you in.
Yeah. It came through fine.
Okay, so that's important, you can receive email, so you don't have a computer, you get email.
I'm not technologically interested in technology.
Right.
It scares me.
That's just how people.
Like, I need somebody to help me just with my phone. I don't like the way my emails come through. They're disjointed. I don't know who's talking to who, when
Well, that'll improve over time, I think,
because I got that when you forwarded to Ralph and I'm going, oh my God, who's Ralph? And I had tried to have to look back, but I couldn't find anything before you sent it to him.
right.
And it's just me.
Well, things
It's
are
really-
kind of
it's me,
buried in
it's not
emails
you.
too, there's one email comes up, another one, and you're trying to
Yeah.
find something actually covered up under another email, yeah.
Yeah, a little tutelage. I think
Yeah.
I'll be fine.
I think that's, but I think the thing is that there's a lot of work you can do. Some people have different talents and
Do
different
they
interests. in
allow
terms of-
you to crisscross agencies? I mean, I'm in the archive, so
That's really
could
up
I
to the mayor.
potentially use
well,
them
I'm-
as
I've been
my
on-
outlet?
I was on these two different things. I was on the Downtown Development Commission when they had one, and I was also on the Historical Commission at the same time.
Right.
And it really is up to the mayor of how he feels about it. I think that because the archives are so connected to historic preservation, it's actually a good thing if you were on this, because you would be being able to connect the two together. more.
Okay. Oh,
Because
yeah.
there's a lot of times when things come to us and they should be going to the archives, not with us, because you have the information, the
Right,
files, of
right.
a lot of that information. We have some, but we don't need, but you really have a lot of stuff in the archives.
Well, I have family history here, which I didn't know, but my mother was a DAR and I'm DAR,
Yep,
Daughters of the American Revolution. And I know Sandy Berry. I'm
Right.
going to the plaque thing.
Right.
But we have John Gallup to thank for his landing in Folly Cove. And my mom had done the research where it was in the newspaper and saying that it originally was Gallup's Folly. And he had run aground basically in 1760, I think it was. I didn't get that property.
So there's,
So-
just so you know, there's really two options. Commission, there's a voting member, and then there's what's called alternates.
Mhm.
So if your interest is to make that connection between the archives and help out in areas where yeah, I know.
I was gonna say, the recording's probably not gonna pick us up. over
I know
that.
Why?
Bad
Anyway.
timing.
I was just explaining, Bob, that there's two levels of I guess, membership on the commission. One is a voting member. The other one is a more casual alternate that maybe just listening to you better suited for you if you're interested.
Mhm.
Where, you could attend the meetings, be there, be that connection to the archives, get engaged in areas that interest you, but not the level of commitment.
but it's also important because even though you wouldn't be a voting member on a regular basis, if we needed a quorum, 'cause right now we don't have. a
Could I do that? Yes. I
So if we
understand.
needed a vote, then we have to make the quorum and vote.
Yes.
So that's very important.
Okay.
That an alternate could provide.
I think that sounds like a really awesome introduction
And gives you more time.
into the group.
Ease yourself into it, while maybe you're getting yourself comfortable with some of the technology that you might need to use, because we're being forced to use technology. I welcome
I
it more than
know.
most, but I know everyone feels that way. Most people
Yeah.
don't, naturally. And some people, you know, that they really don't want to do too much with technology, because it's, like you said, it's just mind boggling. Even if you're interested, it can be
Mhm.
mind boggling. So,
Well, I think.
I would say, she would need to do a letter. You would do a resume, which could be partly your interests and partly any history of that, could be work history or event, the archives is something that's on you to know. For your,
Well, I could put the DAR in there. I mean,
Exactly.
I've done work for them, but. you
right,
know,
and you're interested in the DAR and
Right.
that history.
Yeah.
And say the Historical Commission is interested in history, also interested in preserving historic structures. and
We
historic-
just had to do a lot of scanning for the DAR.
Right,
and
right.
We had to go
So,
back a long
right,
time.
right. So I'm sure you can find a way to be useful. Not everyone comes in at the same level of our interests.
Well, I wrote down all the names of people that I knew or did work for, or, you know,
Right.
work like that,
Right.
and I'll include it.
If you need any help looking up a
Sure.
resume, I'm
They have
willing
some-
to help you.
Blanks online,
Yeah.
well, a letter to the mayor, you know. I thought,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, but I would make sure in your letter to the mayor that you would specify alternate, just,
Alternate.
yeah, just so you know, as Bob said, just thrown in to something or things that you may not want to do, kind of working slowly.
I was an alternate for years.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
became a voting member.
Yeah, now she's a big member. She does a
5
lot.
years or something.
A lot.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if we have time after the meeting, you and I might have a chat about it.
Sure, absolutely, yeah,
Okay.
sure. I encourage you, you know, to like a.
Tim, for to get that was
And just,
for us.
say, if you're interested in, and you can
Photo
become
of it.
an alternate. You could also do it, remember, if you decide you want to do that too. But I think a suggestion, would be a good one. Start out as an alternate, until you can kind of, feel comfortable with it, and then
The
you
level
Yeah.
of commitment is,
Well,
yeah.
make it quick.
somewhere along the line, I'm gonna sort of fit in like a puzzle piece for you, and
I'm sure you
you'll
will.
put me where you need
Absolutely.
me, you know?
Yeah,
Okay.
when you paint something, you paint something, you have the little details. And you to have painted these things, you already were interested in what it was. You know, and you're preserving something, but you paint and you're preserving that.
Well, I also had contact with Prue Fish, and she was also a good
It's,
wealth of information and did many, you know, talks on her
Right.
findings of houses and where they ended up. And I was hopeful that her new book was going to come out. And have you heard at all if
I
it's been
haven't.
published?
I haven't.
You do the new book?
I just got it.
Oh, I'd love to. Do you have?
I think it's in
Put it on
the
reserve.
bookstore.
Okay.
I think it's downtown in the bookstore, I think is.
Yeah.
In the
list,
bookstore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
that's what-
Okay, why don't we move on and you can talk to Bob further about that.
And you're welcome to stay, for the whole meeting if you want to.
Oh, absolutely.
Just
Yeah,
to see what
sure.
goes on, you know, get your full. get
What
your
else
full,
did I have to do tonight? No.
Well, we won't be too long, will we? All right.
Well, it gives me a nice all-around visit,
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
information.
I'm glad you decided to come and attend tonight and in person. Yeah, thank you for coming on that.
You're
Appreciate it.
welcome.
Our project lists, Susan, I see you have it out there.
Was there any other administrative things on that list before we move on?
The only one.
Because that's where we're in, was it admin?
Yeah, the project list is on the admin, is under admin. I don't know if why I put it there, but I did.
Okay.
So I updated it. Everybody got a copy a year or so ago when I distributed it. I took off certified local government because in June we voted against
Yep.
that as a project. And I added down in partnerships, Ralph's idea of a preservation community.
Mhm.
So that's outreach.
That's new, right? Is
Uh,
that new? Is that on there?
It was kind of on there before, but
Kind of
not.
under partnering,
Yeah.
but it wasn't specific. So now we
But you
have a
really made some
specific
progress on
project,
that. That's quite nice.
What was the project name?
preservation community.
Okay.
Um, So I think this is all in your emails, and if not, I will check to see if I sent it, otherwise I'll send it to you. We still have many projects. And
Yeah. So what's active right now? Got the preservation community, we certainly have, gonna have another round of the award ceremony. Ongoing house plaques, of course.
Demolition delay.
Demolition delay, yep. Do we need,
comprehensive plan,
what's that?
10-year comprehensive plan, still
Yeah,
in the background.
in the background.
It's in
I
the
mean, that's- yeah,
background, preservation awards.
Yeah.
A historic house plaque. We are not pursuing additional surveys of neighborhoods at this
Yeah,
time.
not at this point, no.
We may be working on a couple of more centenary markers with DPW. They are very enthused
Oh, good.
about doing the two in Stage 4 Park.
One,
I have the information for Rose and we just need to go down there and do one more measurement and I'll send that to her. And so that's being worked on. National Register of Historic Places and Landmarks, we have no future entries. That's a big, big task.
Yeah.
The landmarks architectural book could
Updating that.
really use updating. Mary Ellen started it. She did a beautiful job. She got more than halfway through it. And worked with Wendy and it's, we need somebody with architectural background, somebody who will work with a museum, somebody who is tech savvy and can get this online. It's a big project, but an exciting project for the right person. So that's
so you need a,
that's something I would love to see over the next year being picked up by a new person.
I actually have a person that comes to mind, like right off the bat. He's the same age as me. He's an architect for a really high-end firm in Manchester by the Sea. He lives right on the boulevard. He's one of the Morrissey sons. There's like a whole bunch of Morrisseys that live in that area on the corner, right by the variety store on. But he's like a very accomplished architect. He actually was one of the submitters of the proposals for the lot next to Blue Collar Lobster for the potential reuse of that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so he was one of the top submitters for that. Yeah, so I would actually love to reach out to him to see if he would be interested in joining the commission. He might actually be interested. Or help at least as an advocate towards this book
Yeah.
in terms of architectural
Right.
advice, yeah.
The last I knew, Wendy had submitted a proposal, Wendy Frontiero, because she's an architectural historian and we needed her expertise in doing this. And I think that's where it fell down. I think we didn't get funding or something. So I don't know if this is a volunteer project. I don't know what's involved. Maybe not a lot, given Mary Ellen has started it so much. But I would love for somebody with that kind of background to review the whole project and give an assessment of what's needed.
I have a sort of historic preservation, so I know a lot about areas, styles, and periods of architecture. So I can be useful. I wouldn't be complete without other people, but I can certainly.
Well, maybe you would want to be on that team.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm indicating, on that committee with others doing it.
Is it named the same thing as the old book? Is it still like historic places or?
landmarks.
Landmarks, historic landmarks.
Landmarks, and then I think it had a tagline under it.
Was the goal for it to be expanded, or was it just to update the information that was already in there?
Um, there were some other ideas for its use. And I'm not remembering what they are now, but also not just to make a publication, but to put it online.
The
So,
library could be helpful. If the library could be helpful, I'm happy to
Yeah.
help. Yeah.
good,
Yes,
okay.
makes a
All
lot of
right.
sense.
So you know what, then I will research what Mary Ellen did and bring it to the next meeting. And then maybe we can move that forward. How's that? Okay? Website expansion. The city website is limited and rather inaccessible.
It's just an administrative site. It's never gonna be something like the library has. It's never gonna be a digital archive.
Right.
It's administrative.
So Ralph and I had an idea many years ago, 6 years ago now. I bought a website called historicgloucester.com. It was available and I've been paying for it ever since happily. Right now, it just has my talk on it and some other things. My husband monitors it. We were thinking, and we talked to Sherry about this at the website training, whether we could link that website to the city website and make my website into a community resource of all things historical in Gloucester. All the links to everybody who's done all this wonderful work. The House Plaques program with an interactive map on, where all the plaques are. I mean, the ideas are
I think you
endless.
could, make the blocks much more interesting if there were more of them. The historic house blocks.
Oh, yeah, well, that's another project. What we're talking about now is a website that just lists everything that's going on. So it would be a link to the museum and their,
So
and
just
their
something you
walls.
turn over to the city and the city.
No.
No.
That's the
This
exact
is a
opposite, yeah.
project we take on
Okay, so
and we develop and we do.
as a historical commission, we'll do this
Correct.
going forward.
Correct.
Whoever's on the historical commission will carry this forward. It just won't die at some point when we have a change of membership. It's something that stays.
That is a possibility since
That's
she's
right.
privately owning
That's
the
right,
site.
because
Yes,
I'm
she's
privately
privately
owning
owning
it
it and paying for it,
now,
yeah.
And let's say in 10 years, I'm not here, what happens to it? So we have to figure out a plan for it, how it lives in perpetuity, how much it would cost to do that. Right now, it's not much at all. But when it goes on a server, that we might have to pay for,
Yeah.
then it becomes a bigger thing. So it's a big project that we haven't touched yet because we don't have the manpower and we don't have the
Infrastructure.
technical expertise.
We
I
may
mean,
wanna
my
reach out
husband
to-
and Ralph, but they're kind of
We
talented.
may want to reach out to the Massachusetts Historical Commission. See how they feel, what they think they would like to envision and what their ideas would be in helping us come up with this system. If they.
I don't know. We got plenty of ideas, Bob. We're in no shortage of ideas.
Well, I'm
You
thinking
know what I
about.
want it to look like? I want it to look like Ipswich's website. If you could look at half of what Ipswich's historic website, that's a private website. I don't need to get the historical commission involved. It's a private website. I could build this myself right now and fund it.
Right.
But we have the ability to edit the historical commission page on the on the city's website though, correct? So we can just paste in your URL in there.
Yes, you
Yeah,
can
Yeah,
link
we
it
just directly link it
That's
over. Yeah, that's all that's what we should
to a
do.
private website. Just like, what's his name, Harris does the, Gordon Harris. Yeah, he does his. So this is a big pie in the sky kind of thing. But the way I see it is there's so much good work
So
in
how,
Gloucester and it's all hodgepodge to find it.
well, it is, that's the thing. I'm just for, let me say it, you can tell me if it's a dumb idea. Is it possible to leverage the library website? I mean, you guys have such a rich, I mean, what you've got there, is more than a beginning. Is more than comparable, I think, in some areas to what Ipswich is. Is there a way for us to add content? Going through, you guys would govern it, of course. We wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, we could think about, I already
Have a
do,
link between, let's see. Library.
I already do maintain the Cape Ann history page on the library's website, and they do link out to, and, I try to get all the major,
Yeah.
other historical places. So yeah, I'm currently redesigning it, so if you up there or.
I mean, like Susan's interactive map of house plaques.
Yeah.
Could that live
I could
on your
find
site?
out,
That,
yeah.
as an example,
It might be,
it's just such a beautiful start to what,
yeah.
Not even started.
Yeah.
and we wouldn't have the problem of longevity.
Right.
I'm assuming the library is going to be around longer than us.
I hope so.
Right.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be another site, and I'm not saying not use your.
Yeah.
Your URL, I mean. And I'm no expert at it, but I've been some pretty major projects where we did information design and design major corporation websites and so forth. And believe me, I don't want to get involved in all that. It's your guys' domain. But maybe I could poke around, do a little thinking, and you and I could talk
Yeah.
about how we could add information to it that would be kind of cohesive to what you have, but also bring all of the scattered information into one place. Like the Lanesville stories, the thing that happened last weekend,
Definitely.
that they're looking for a home for that, and they're going out. I originally talked to them about getting it on the library site, but they've established a new website for that. It's just so scattered, as Susan said.
I know.
It could be so detailed and beautiful all in one site. And then where it's legitimate, you can link out to other things.
Yeah, I'm happy to talk.
I've
about
even
that.
got some stuff on the Lanes Cove Historical Association site that really I'd like to see go somewhere else other than our little site. So
Yeah.
we've got stories of, I don't know if you ever heard the story of, this actually links out to
That's right in with. the
Ipswich,
library.
the story of the fisherman from Lanesville that was stabbed by a swordfish and killed. But I mean, we get all of those different stories. I've downloaded Babson's book from BU Library because it's public domain now. Do I really need that there? That's probably already on the library site, something like that. Just take it and put it in one place in a very organized, properly designed website like you have. Anyway, I'm going on about just thinking that it's such a lovely place to start. Is if you guys are willing to entertain additional content that may kind of be a different branch all along.
Yeah. Our
Of
goal is
history.
information giving and.
Right.
Yeah, so. Talk more about that. and how we do
We want to go as far as establish a subcommittee. I'm willing to work on the subcommittee. I'm not sure if you want to go that step at this point. If you want to think about it.
Yeah, no,
Sure.
Yeah, I actually really like the idea of that primarily because of the longevity of the domain.
Right.
And the secureness of the domain more than anything, yeah. And that would be a great place to consolidate many small collections of data from different sites in one location, even if you're just pushing out URLs to start and then eventually pulling in the data as we create new pages. That would probably be, yeah. Okay, so.
And I heard you guys won an award last year for it. Okay.
So the other is paper play. We have oodles of documents. We have all the documents, 4 years worth that Mary Ellen put on Google Docs. Some of them are just fabulous. They're a little hard to access unless you're familiar with Google Docs. We have the 4 bins of historic paper files that are in my kitchen. I've started to go through them. It's just mind boggling. And without a budget to digitize, it's like, what do we do with all of this? Meeting notes and minutes are on our website. They have to be, and there's a retention schedule that Massachusetts Historical Commission or the state provides, so we know when we can get rid of things there. It just goes on and on. That's enough.
I think it's more than we can take on right now, the paper.
I know. So, okay, so 2 sort of sub-projects
this-
came out of that, right? Perhaps putting more information on the library, and then I will excavate Mary Ellen's landmarks project and bring it to the next meeting. Okay, so then we can be done with this now,
Yeah.
right?
Do you have this, you have this, do you have this? I think we're going to put
I
that with the
sent this
notes.
to
It's
everybody.
emailed,
If
yes.
not, I'll
I like to have it in the notes because that is something that we can refer back to when we want to see where we are in our projects.
You don't have to hand me that. I can just take a photo of it for now, but I could also just attach it into my meeting minutes off of the email. That would be the easiest way to do it as well. I do everything digitally. It's fine.
Right.
I think that's enough to
Take
additional
on.
stuff to take
Yes,
on.
yes.
The next subject, I think, is gonna be a lot of work. It's outreach, this community. Man.
Such a good idea, though. It's a really nice.
So city outreach. After we left the meeting last month, I realized that we never voted on meeting with the city council. When I talked to Val Gilman, she said, go do a roll call vote that we want to request a meeting and then go and request a meeting with the city council so we can give them a 20-minute spiel on what we're all about. But we left here and we never voted on it. I guess,
We can do that.
yeah, so it wasn't in the minutes. I don't remember doing it. I know I was probably. Yeah, so
Let's make a motion that we, meeting with the city council.
I will second that motion.
We're doing it anyway, so.
Well, you were gonna determine a plan.
Yeah, but this is, this was the this was a prior decision
I
that we
see.
made
I
to
see.
meet with the city council. And I talked to Val, this was before that I wrote the plan. I mean, it's part of it really, but it's a
So what
concrete
is the
step we
vote
take now.
for? To go speak to Al Gilman and come before city council? Or was this, okay,
Yeah, she requested that we have a formal vote. She said that's the way to proceed, to have a formal vote of our commission, send it to the president of the council, I forget his name. Thank you for that. This today, by the way, Susan, contacts.
His name is Tony Gross.
Tony Groups, yeah. Yeah, to present, to have a 20-minute session at a city council meeting to present the activities of the historic commission. This goes back to the discussion around the demolition delay and that we have a relationship with the city council. Just to bring it to them out of the blue would be this discussion, but we
Yes.
had it several times.
Yep.
Just to build up that relationship with them so they can understand. Trying to propose before we do something. A thumbs up or thumbs down. So anyway, I talked to Val. She suggested that she asked that we have a a vote. Roll call vote. That roll call vote is to request 20 minutes in front of the city council at one of their meetings. So, like I
Any other
said,
discussion, I guess that's the question.
no, I don't have any.
Yeah, get that discussion in, and let's lay it out, and then you have the vote.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Any more?
So the idea of the 20-minute meeting is to tell the city council what we're doing, what we've done, what we are doing, and what we would like to do.
why we're doing it.
So 3 kind of categories, just to inform them of who we are, what we're trying to do, and just say hello.
Give them some background.
Right. Give them some background and I mean, it all gets back to this proposal here. It was kind of the first the genesis of that proposal is to start talking to these other commissions, getting in front of them, building up a relationship with these other commissions and council.
So this is a different issue, but I think it was proposed that we ask the city council whether we can do this. Did I misunderstand that?
That is a different issue.
That is not what we're doing.
Yeah, no, I think in one of the drafts, I may have said on the city council or something like that, but
Yeah,
I don't think it's in there anymore. I think it got
Okay.
written out,
okay,
if
thank
I
you.
remember. So are we ready to vote on the 20-minute city council question? Bob, you posted, I
We
seconded
already
it.
voted on this.
We did.
Yep, I have it right here. Ralph talked with Val Gilman about exposure of meeting to put in front of a presentation for 20 minutes in front of city council. Motion by Ralph, seconded by Tim, passed
Right.
See,
We
that's
did it
why I
on
needed
July 8th.
to review my
Yeah.
minutes, Tim.
I did right before this, but I didn't double check them with mine. I'm sorry,
Okay,
but I did take good notes.
so
So
could
we did vote on it.
could we revise the minutes? Who's, I guess you did the last month's meeting. Could you add that in there so I can get
Yes.
it?
Okay, and Tim,
Posted.
what was it?
I'm gonna read through yours again as well and make sure I have everything the same. It was a vote to present 20 minutes in front of city council. It was motioned by Ralph and seconded by myself, and it was unanimously passed. It said Ralph talked with Val Gilman about exposure and meeting to put together a presentation for 20 minutes in front of city council. Yeah. And then the next one was about you reaching out to David Fields for replacements.
Yeah.
Yep. And before that was Ralph and William met about preservation awards for next year.
That I remember.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm getting old.
No, we just didn't, I just didn't check didn't check my notes. That's my fault.
Okay, so that's good. We don't have to do that. As far as kind of moving along here. I haven't talked to Alex Koppelman yet or sent him an email. I do that. Yes.
So since we did vote on that last week,
Yeah,
we're supposed to now send something to, what was his name?
you mean the name that Susan just sent?
Yeah.
That's like 3 minutes ago.
Yes,
I told you I
that
was
guy.
getting old.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tony Gross.
Tony Gross, thank
Yeah.
you. So
And
now
I will do that. I'll take care of that. Yeah. Once it's scheduled, we'll have to talk about who presents, how we present. We all show up, but.
I think anyone wants to speak on it. Speak on it. Their idea.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
And get the perspective, not just one.
I agree.
Yeah, so we get a little. Sometimes it might be a different report too.
Right.
Right, yeah. And we'll kind of coordinate what we send, so that we.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's the same, exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
Kind of like a supportive thing.
I'm so amazed at what you're doing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Shorthand?
it's so funny. Yeah, I'm all over the place, and unfortunately, I think I'm writing currently between work, classified work, and these. I'm on 4 separate notebooks now that I organize, and it's brutal. I don't know why I pulled this back, but I don't know. I go back and forth in between digital and actual hard copy. I think I've been forcing myself to try this, but I
still
always
like
end up
paper.
going back to paper.
It's so repetitive. Our society seems to be so repetitive.
This is the most cutting edge thing on the market right now to be as as paper as possible, and it just still doesn't have the right feel to me. It just doesn't feel quite right.
Can you export it as typed?
You can, yeah, you can transcribe it, and
And-
that's the advantage.
And this is all in like verbiage is exact or?
It will write it exactly how I wrote it, word for word, yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And then it'll do like even spelling suggestions, yeah, if you, but
That's
it'll
what
write
I-
it out exactly how it does it. The way it does it is when you first get it, you write a bunch of words and it remembers your handwriting style pretty much, and then
Right.
associates those with letters, and then
See,
it
that's
transcribes
where
it, yeah.
This is like outer space for me.
Yeah, so this is all digital, an e-ink
Crazy.
display. But I still prefer,
That's what happened.
yeah, I keep going back to
Paperless.
paper. It's just not the same.
Okay, so I will reach out to Alex Koppelman. I haven't done that yet.
That's about Alex Koppelman's for what?
Is he the city liaison for boards and commissions?
So that's separate from Tony Gross.
Yes, that's separate.
So you have to reach out to both of them on that subject? Or
No,
is this-
no, we used to have, what was his name? David
Yeah,
Fields.
yeah.
As our liaison, or
Liaison.
at least he acted as our liaison. He was
Sure.
very responsive. When he left, we were kind of left without anybody to reach out to.
Right.
And Alex Koppelman replaced him.
What's his name now?
Alex Koppelman, Koppelman.
I remember.
And the question is that a role that he's playing? And we just don't know. Maybe that was just something David Field did because, he was helpful. I don't know.
Yeah,
Well, we had a question that particular question we wanted to put through here, and some guidance. That's why we've been glad.
To David. Yes, about the plan.
Right.
Demolition.
Right. Right.
what is his role otherwise?
By somebody at City Hall Annex when we were there, that every commission, every department has a liaison. So
Yeah.
I don't think that's
Oh,
just,
so you don't think it was just.
everybody has a contact in City Hall. And he was ours.
Okay. Well, let me finally.
What is his day job, though? Like, he obviously has to work within the
He's the city
city.
planner.
Okay.
So the project brief about a preservation community, did everybody get a chance to read that? And this is just a draft. I mean, it's just my original thoughts. So I'm not saying it perfect. What are folks' initial thoughts on that? I mean, is this something we want to take on? Is it too ambitious?
Something has to be done with a certain period. Now, this is a very, very to do this because it's going to put us entities come up with something so long. The ideas.
We're gonna have to reach out to the list of stations that's in the appendix there.
Yep.
And when we reach out to them, at least I would like to have something in my hand, like this proposal to say, this is why we're reaching out. what are your thoughts, so forth and so on. Not saying it has to be fully baked, and we can tell them that, we can say this, this is an idea, a concept, we see this as a real gap in the community, the preservation community within Gloucester. Are you willing to participate? Do you see value in it? And just start there, but it's gonna take a lot of legwork. I mean, there's a lot of folks listed on that list. And
I mean, the first step
It's
is
gonna
gonna
take
be even getting a hold of people. I did reach out to Dan Morris this week and haven't heard anything back from him. So it's like,
the historic district.
no, he's Open Spaces Committee Chair.
Oh, okay.
Because that's who I remember. I had this conversation with Mike Hale, and we had almost the identical conversation and thought process that you had. We need more cross collaboration between committees, and we need to come up with a way that we have we either can bounce ideas off of each other or have a once a year presentation where people bring forward their current projects and other committees can put input in. And last week we had the exact same ideas from very different points. But part of that was he was like, I think the first thing you should do is now reach out to Dan Morris, since he's the head of Open Spaces, which now encompasses the Stage 4 Park Committee, Magnolia Woods Committee, and Dogtown, all within one organization. So I wrote an email to him this week to reach out specifically to say, here's my idea. I'm just trying to outreach to other community organizations as a liaison to bounce ideas and find out what your future plans are for open spaces. I would love to just bounce ideas off you. Let me know if you could meet. And I haven't heard back from him yet, but it's kind of the start of this exact thing.
Right.
And I think it's going to take a lot longer than we expect just by getting a hold of everyone. Unless there's like a time where if there's a yearly boards and commissions meeting that everyone is supposed to attend, that would be the place to present this and have it ready. Do you know if they have that? Well, then maybe that's what this should be. Yeah.
Yes, but that's a huge that's a city job.
But all
That should be.
I was
a
gonna say,
city
but all
job.
that takes is a request by the mayor for all boards and commissions to meet on a certain date. That's literally the extent
Yes,
of
but
what it
then
could
you need
take.
somebody to organize it.
Correct.
It's a
They've done
big,
that in the past.
it's a big
Yes.
thing.
But I mean, even if we could, maybe that's what we present in the 20-minute presentation is what we're thinking of doing, the plan, and then proposing city council or the mayor presents a day for all boards and commissions to gather and go over the idea and see how people think about it.
So there.
But we'd have to have it well sorted by then.
Thing about that, and I'm not saying that's not a great idea, very nice, but this is
Kind of a lot of legwork out.
but this is focused on preservation organizations. So there's only a few commissions in there and
Okay.
a lot of private organizations as
Mhm.
well. So for instance, the zoning board, we
Yep.
don't have a lot in common with them unless they want to tear down a historic property or that's on the table, something like that, but this is really focused
Yeah,
to
you
the
have
preservation.
six in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7.
Yeah, and there are probably 3 dozen easily.
Yeah.
Boards and
In the
commissions.
past, we have, the mayors have had meetings, of all the different
I mean, this is a
commissions.
great start though, and a lot of those fall within these.
That's, well, for saying, this really is earmarked to the entities that would be, connected to preservation. Rather than just every organization in the city. And, by doing this, evident is limited as this, it will be more cohesive. Right, we can control it as a
Right.
entity
There'll be
better.
a common thread, common
Right.
objective.
And this will be easier. The larger picture, which it'll dilute it because a lot of those agencies really would be interested in preservation. They would have it. So,
That's true. This is like a good first step at least.
right,
And the one we care the most about, honestly, as the historical commissioner should care the most about to start.
I think that we could go to the mayor and tell him this is something that we're thinking about doing and what does he think about it? And that's, you'll get some support, I believe.
I mean, I think we present it to the city council first, right? That's the whole thing.
I think, we're going ahead with this plan. We don't know these people. We need to go to their meetings. We need to introduce ourselves. We need to show an interest in what they do by listening, hearing how they operate, what's important to them. We need to build a rapport. And then, once we know who each other is, then bring them in to then see if they're interested, interested in collaborating with others. I think this is a fabulous idea, but I think this is the last step. I think a lot of legwork and rapport has to be built first.
Oh, no, I agree with you. I think we have to connect to
And I
those
don't think we should
organizations.
tell the mayor or anybody else about this until we do our homework first.
It's
That's me.
the one in the group here is from another organization.
Yeah.
How do you think the library would
Susan, he already knows
react to
about
something
something
like this?
What's that?
This is a public meeting, so he can find out about it.
That's not my point, Bob. You know that.
So yeah, to me, I think these are two different things. I'd be happy to meet with you all and like from the library. And Cam and the archives. I think there's a lot of things, like there's a lot of missing when we don't talk and we're all working on different projects. But what you guys are trying to do, I think is a separate thing. I don't know if that's, I don't know if,
Our emphasis is in a separate category.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think working with the other
But,
commissioners.
but,
and committees
what
is-
the
is
library
separate.
does is they hold in the museum, they keep records that are useful for what we're trying to do.
Right,
And whether there's a common interest there.
But I think that's what I'm trying to get at, is that common interest, not necessarily the other boards and commissions. The only reason they're in there is they have a common interest. This is really, in my mind, it started with the external organizations to the city. Added in, or I added in some of the other commissions because we do have a common interest with them and they may get benefit out of being part of this. So what you described originally is what I'm thinking.
that's something that I've always found was missing.
I like
And I
that
think
title.
used to exist.
Title's nice.
Reservation community.
How about checking into other cities? Finding out how that government works for that city, if it's similar enough to us.
Gloucester's a little different because of the way the city is run, like Beverly and Salem and stuff do not have a city council and all that. It's actually like resident voting on everything, right? It's what's the two different government types?
One's in town.
I think that's part of the problem.
Right, but
is
like
there's
Salem's
too
not,
many
Salem's a city, but it's a municipality
organizations.
instead of
Oh, I don't know.
which it means it has like a city
Well, they
council
may
that
have
votes on
different-
everything rather than the people voting on everything. So there's a little bit of difference in structure of how the cities are run, but in terms of boards and commissions, I think they're all fairly similar, but in terms of interaction between boards and commissions, yeah, well, there's no sight into that at this point that we know, but it would be interesting to find out.
But again, this isn't, the main purpose isn't for interaction between boards and commissions, it's for interaction between preservation-minded organizations or preservation that have a mandate or an objective to preserve history. It's not,
So why do we need to bring that to the city council?
That's my
I'm not,
point.
yeah,
We should be able to just do this anyways. We're not like city councilmen who have to, everything where you meet with someone on a city basis has to be in a public forum. The committees, you don't have to do that. I mean, or announce that you're doing it. We could just have a meeting with them.
no, I don't think we need to get permission from anybody. I mean, it'd be nice to inform them, just like everything else that we do.
I think the main point here that you were making though is putting us on the radar of city council in terms of like, look what we're doing
That's,
from a good standpoint.
that's the 20 minutes in front of the
Yeah.
council.
Yeah.
That's really something else.
I think this takes a long time to do, as I was indicating earlier. So what I would say is to have it be more of an informal concept to kind of put into people's minds that what we're trying to establish is foster conservation community. And that we should, and whenever we have the opportunity or interest to share that information together and support what we're doing together. So like support are around the same interest of preservation. The archive is a good example of that. Library, museum. Museum is the most of us, which is really something that is great.
So what you're proposing is not, this is what you want to present in our 20 minutes to the.
No,
To the city
this is
council. This is a completely
separate-
separate conversation.
Separate conversation.
In 20 minutes, we
Yeah.
just want to tell them what we've done, preservation awards, signs, and
And that's more of
other
a preface to get our,
projects.
yeah,
But
and eventually demo delay, if we can get that in front of them eventually, right?
Yeah, it's,
But this, I think we can just do on our own as our own standalone project. I think it's a big project, but it's, I think it's an important one though, at least as a stepping stone towards
I think there are
open.
two parts of, what city council. One part is some of that level, like this, in the demolition play. Then we need to zero in on what the priority would be. What our immediate priority would be is this demolition delay. And why it's so important that we do it sooner rather than later.
I don't think we'll be presenting that on the first 20 minutes though. That's not the way you want to come in.
well, other than.
So I think we need to let them know that it's gonna be a priority for us in that we'd like to do it sooner rather than later. That's all. We need to let them know that this is something that will be coming back to them.
So I don't know if we need to take a formal vote on this. I think if I look at my next steps here. I think it can't be just me. I think we need to define a subcommittee. And then split up the list of organizations, subcommittee, start researching. We talk to, can we attend their meetings if possible, and start talking this up. Start to, maybe as you said, Bob, to organically grow it.
Yeah, I'd like to help you with that.
Okay. We need to, I don't think we need to formally vote on that, do we? It's already on our project list, kind of. Get it on there.
Well, only for we're gonna take action on something. Okay, I mean, we're gonna take action with another entity, but we're just doing this for meeting to meeting, we don't get to vote.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's just. Yeah, to know. Yeah.
When I did my timeline project, I reached out to a really similar list of people, so I have a lot of their contact information if you need it. Plus a few organizations that I didn't see on that list, so. Yeah, maybe, I don't know if you need that together and
I
talk
think
about
so.
that, yeah.
Side note. Are we allowed to meet as subcommittees? I think we are.
no more than three.
So it doesn't become a quorum.
Right. As long as we don't vote on anything, I guess.
Because if we meet as a committee, then it's a quorum, then it's a public meeting. We can work 2 people and 3 people, as long as it's not a
Right.
quorum.
2 or 3, but no, I think no more than that.
Right.
I can send it to you. I'll just
Well,
send
you're
you the
not,
list.
actually, it doesn't matter if you're the 4th person because.
You're not.
You're not.
You're
Yeah, you're not.
You're just a public servant.
Fabulous.
Yeah, you don't, that's the
So-
advantage there.
Julie, as you know, is a gem. We love her. She contributes. She's a hard worker, and yet she cannot be a formal member. So she's not a resident.
Yes,
Oh,
not yet.
yeah.
Never know.
We're looking for a place.
Julie
Yeah.
was the one that said, go try to join
Yep.
here.
That says
She's
a
the
lot.
one.
When you get that,
Thank you.
So was anybody, so Bob is interested in being on the, so and Julie will pull you in as we need you. We'll call you our ghost fourth member. Is there anybody else that's interested in helping us with this effort?
I mean, I've already started the outreach in terms of I've already reached out to Dan Morris from boards and from open spaces. So I can continue that conversation going and take on a few more people to reach out to.
Okay, so maybe through email, we can
Yeah.
divvy up that list.
Okay.
We don't have to do it tonight, but
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I trust that will work out nice.
I mean, it could bomb and fizzle,
I don't think so.
or it could be great.
Well,
I mean, who
We
knows?
we don't go too fast, we're fine.
Yeah,
I think we need to just pen up a general statement that we can then first send out with our contact information, say,
Yeah.
hey, we're just reaching out. Here's our plan or our thought process. We'd love to hear your input.
yeah, I mean, I can use
Um,
the. I won't.
yeah, something along these
proposal
lines
and
of it, yeah.
Objectives and I mean, I won't put the next steps.
Yeah, but like just make this into an email format almost.
Yeah. Yeah.
At least as a good starting
Introduction.
point. Yeah, I think so. But part of this is gonna be getting all, like from Julie, for example, all names of people on each of these committees or good contacts for each
Right.
of these committees.
Right.
Yeah.
Some of them I have, but most of them I don't.
Okay.
Okay, should we move on? Gloucester Daily Times visit. Susan, do you wanna? It was your brainchild. Do you wanna just update?
Oh, great.
We visited Gloucester Daily Times. Susan thought it would be a good idea if we went to visit Ethan
Woman.
just to build up a relationship again, kind of similar to this, only for publicity purposes. Susan got lucky. Ethan was there. In fact, Susan met somebody in the parking lot, and that person in the parking lot went in and told them that we were looking for him.
And that was Amanda. She's the chief editor, so.
Oh,
that
she's
was-
the editor.
That was good. to
His
see.
boss, yeah, so that worked out well.
It was all
Um,
good.
We had a very good meeting. It wasn't long, but 20-minute meeting with Ethan, and he was more than happy to entertain and take our articles and publicize them and or print them in the newspaper, starting with the Lake Champlain, the Champlain marker. That's how we got him there.
Right. That's very nice.
So
Um,
that was above the fold.
yeah,
I know,
And
that's
front
important, that's a big
page.
deal.
Good job.
And then on to the next page. So he really gave us very good coverage.
Yeah.
And it was, of course, in the online edition. And then a week later, it was in the Salem News.
oh, was it?
Yeah, same article. Yeah.
Wow.
So that meeting was well worth our
Yeah.
time.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
we
say, that
really
was a
established a great rapport.
Yeah.
yeah, because otherwise you had to pay to put in.
Chatted with him at the event. He brought his photographer, Paul, and chatted with Paul as well. So I think we made some good inroads
Yeah.
with the Times.
And
That's great.
I did say I'm gonna.
Good thinking.
I did talk to him at your event about the article about looking for members for Gloucester Historic Commission.
Yes.
I just asked him, did he want me to just write it or just feed him information? He goes, just feed me information. So
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna do that. Get that. See if we get results from that. But yeah, it was great. It was very, very
Yeah.
good.
That was good.
Historic plaque updates, anything on the historic plaques?
I heard from one of the applicants that she was going to get her application in before the meeting, and she,
Okay,
I think the summer heat has gotten to people. So,
yeah,
yeah, but I'd like to push it in September. I have a talk in September, so it might not happen until October. But I created this sort of small poster with a QR code, so anybody can just get the application by scanning the QR code. It goes right to the application page, doesn't go to the application itself, did that on purpose because every time we revise it, we'd have to revise this code.
Right.
So it goes to the page. And I wondered if everybody would take one and post it in your office or neighborhood or library or, and I'm going to post one in Rocky Neck.
I have
So
no
is
idea
that
how to
okay?
use that. I don't know if there's anybody else in the world except me
What?
who doesn't understand that.
Well, that's okay, because
I don't know
that's
how-
why the website is
Yeah.
here. You can either scan this,
The top.
which I've only learned how to do, so don't.
do
don't-
you?
Oh,
Ah,
yeah, it's a new
okay.
thing, it's okay. Or you can
Great.
go to the website. But I think the big thing is, and I got permission from, this is the 12 Watson Street People's Plaque. Got permission from her to use her plaque. I think just people seeing this and associate it with, and maybe they'll, whether they use this, whether they use that or whatever, if we start to get the
I think
word
it's-
around.
That's awesome.
Can you put this up at archives?
Oh,
Bulletin board?
sure.
By the way, here's the thing about the QR code or any of those
Thank
things.
you, yeah.
You do not need to know how to use it. You just introduce it to other people who do know how to use it and they will
Do you have
use
any
it.
place in the
You
neighborhood?
understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You don't
actually, I
to
do have
tell
a
them
place
how
with
to
this.
use it.
I can put one in the
Most people,
Lanesville Library.
Perfect.
Post office.
So I've said,
Okay.
actually, most people do know how to use it, you know.
Right, I don't know, that doesn't seem appropriate enough, I don't think there's.
I'll do Rocky Neck. That's close enough to you.
So you have a phone that has a
I
camera,
have,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now, if you take your.
Yeah.
Open your
Where's your
camera
phone?
and you hold that
You
on
have your
there.
phone?
I think it's in this
If you
bag.
hold it
I'm
over,
gonna do this right now.
if you hold it over that code, you will see
They're very
a
smart now.
link comes up.
Yeah.
A link comes up. You just hit that link.
Just find your
Just
camera.
open the camera, like you're gonna take a photo,
This is a great idea, Susan.
and you hold it over that QR code, and you'll see a yellow box go around it. You might have to zoom out a little.
Back out a little. My one camera won't do it and my other camera will, so some
Put
cameras
this on the
don't do it.
table and stand like above it, a little further away, so it's smaller on the screen, and then you'll see eventually.
No, her camera won't do it.
I paid enough for that. Stupid thing.
Let's see, back it out a bit. No, it's not doing it.
I can show you
With an
how it
Apple
does.
phone, it does it, yeah.
Why didn't I get an Apple phone?
Now, yours, the Samsungs definitely do it too, but you may have to turn it
There
on.
must
Yeah,
be
back
something
away off,
I'm
Ralph.
missing.
Yeah. There it
See
is.
how.
Yeah.
Automatically brings the link up here, so then you
Just
just
click
click
that.
on the yellow and it'll bring you right to the website.
Goes right to.
No, I don't get it. I don't understand it.
See that?
Are you an Android guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's kind of a
Apple
personal.
is- I understand Apple. I have Apple there.
I think that's a great idea, Susan. Very good thinking in terms of being with the times.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, very,
I
very
saw
good
your
thinking.
poster at the.
Does it
or
not
the
even take a
information at
picture?
The archives
I took a
today, that's
picture
like,
of it.
oh, this
Yeah, I took. a picture of it.
folder and tucked behind.
You know, if I see something that she doesn't have in her apps, that doesn't allow that to happen.
Yep, my camera
But
doesn't do it either.
You know where I may hang
And you
one?
can't get
My
that
one camera will do it, my
See if-
one camera won't.
Holy cow, will let me hang one in there, because all the people around me that have nice
Go to
houses
the,
all go to Holy Cow, like,
go to-
including
go to the
myself
AT&T
regularly.
or-
I see my neighbors there
You
all
need
the
a second
time.
one?
I'll put one in
Go to the-
Holy for sure.
I don't know.
That would be the best place to
It's,
put one, to start.
Metro PC.
Okay, go to a phone store and have,
I actually just
Show
saw
how to do it.
John,
and they'll probably tell you.
the
just
guy
how-
who was our first
It's so
plaque.
That's how I learned.
Yes,
I saw him there on Saturday.
John Allen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Him and Arya, his wife. I saw them there on Saturday.
Anything else on
Yeah,
house
yeah.
bikes?
Ran out.
Anything else on house bikes?
Nope.
Yeah, nothing, I don't think anything
Oh,
at the
did-
archives.
Did you finish the mayor's research?
I didn't, no.
Oh, the mayor's
I
house.
forgot about that, yeah.
That would be great.
I didn't get one of those. The spare.
I have two. You can take one of mine. Yeah.
Oh, two.
Mhm.
Okay.
I'll find a way to get that.
So that's,
Oh,
the
sorry.
marker, the marker was successful.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of put a
Okay, and then I have one more thing after that.
Yes,
Yeah.
and there's actually one more thing that
Okay.
Bob sent me as well, we have to talk about, which I'm not sure what that was, but hopefully you know.
Remember, oh, well,
That's all right, I'll bring it up.
okay, yeah.
Go ahead, Susan. You have one more thing.
Oh, so I sent everybody this handout today on the governing officials.
Yep.
And these are live links, because we often talk about inviting them. There were actually 3 officials at the marker ceremony. Scott Memard, who is my ward counselor, Jeff Worley, who I think just loves the historical commission.
He does.
Hmm.
He was actually one of the people
Really
who,
supportive.
he was one of the first people that recommended this is where I start my public service.
Is that right?
Well,
Yeah.
him and I have
think
had
he's-
quite a few one-on-one conversations. We've gone out to coffee and I told him pretty much my desires and my passions of Gloucester. And he's like, oh, you should look into this. And then I met Jude and now.
Yeah, he
Here I
is,
am.
he's supportive. And then, of course, we got the mayor to come, so that was a coup. And then for the preservation awards, we invited them and, you know, had to look up each one and everything. So I just thought it would be helpful if everybody had one of these. It's all in your email. Here you go.
Oh, thank you.
No, it's,
I did look at
it is
it.
helpful.
before.
Yeah. Where did you find
I
that?
think I'm.
Find what?
That.
I made it.
Oh, you made it. I was gonna say, I hadn't seen that document.
Dylan Basin, Benson.
Of course you made it.
I made it.
Yeah, I know. I get that now.
Yeah, so that
I
was
thought you had pulled it down from the website or
Or
something.
2, but there's 2 and
There's,
1.
there's a 1 and a 2,
Yeah, and a
sections
2.
in every ward. So
So
there's 1,
it-
1, 1, 2,
I found it.
but up here, they only differentiate between the wards. So Scott Memard has 1, 2, and 1, 1. So he has all of East
Oh,
Gloucester
okay.
and up here above East Gloucester.
Okay, I
Yeah.
see.
See,
And Dylan Benson has all of Ward 2, correct? 1 and 2.
Benson
Yeah.
has Ward 2.
Yeah, so that's 2.1 and 2.2, right? There's
Yes,
2, yeah.
exactly. Yeah, he's got a lot of downtown.
Pretty
He's
much all.
got you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fine. He's a great guy.
Yeah, thank you for doing that, Susan. It's very helpful. The last thing on the agenda, Bob, you're gonna have to explain it to me because I'm not sure what this is. Something about a
From
tower.
Time to time, and it's not really anything that's, we need to weigh in on. It's just a matter of making us aware. But just the AT&T has done this, when they went up a tower, cell tower, well, they put one up in Annisquam, and Annisquam Village Church.
Oh, that's right. I remember inside.
Yeah,
Inside.
so this is one, this is gonna be at 298 Washington Street, which is the address of the hospital. Okay,
So they're not asking us, it's just so you know, we're putting out.
that's right, but they're letting us know that it's what they're doing.
Who did they send that to? To the commission or to all of the city? Or like,
No,
where-
this is to the commission. This is,
interesting.
yeah, they're notifying us as a commission
And this was Verizon
because we have a.
or AT&T? AT&T.
Yeah, there are times when a cell tower could affect appearance, you know.
Yeah, there was actually a big boycott against a cell phone tower in Manchester by the Sea like 2 or 3 years ago. There's signs everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm assuming this is one that's kind of concealed. That's the one that
They-
they say it's not gonna be noticeable. The one at National Village Church is perfect because you don't see it.
I think there's already antennas on the top of Addison Gilbert Hospital. I think there's already antennas on the top of Addison Gilbert, so maybe they're just adding.
Yeah, that's
additionals.
why the companies perhaps, And
Did they say tower or antenna?
It says antenna modification / upgrade on an existing building with no ground disturbance.
Yeah.
So it must be,
The historical commission question.
probably because it's an old, I don't know, it's an old building, I guess. I don't.
Like I would make,
Don't we need to know? I mean, do we have the right to tell them it's okay?
They're not asking us to do
no, they're
anything.
just telling, they're advising, they're not asking, they're advising.
To inform us,
Oh, they're just informing
they're
us.
informing us, that's what this is, that's all. Like I said, we do not have to make any.
Yeah.
In this particular case, we don't have to say, we just
They're actually all over the place. Most people don't notice it, but when I'm on my third floor on my roof deck looking down over Gloucester, the entire roof of Browns Mall is all cell phone antennas.
You can see them even without.
They're
you know,
huge. Yeah, they're huge.
They're huge.
You'll notice them next time you look at Browns Mall roof. They're big
they're-
maroon sticks that stick up off the
Yeah,
roof of Browns
they're
Mall.
actually, not very pleasant looking,
They're-
but
they're-
I love them.
Hmm.
We
They're
all
off the
love them.
back side of the building, so if
Because
you're
the
on
alternative is
Pleasant
nobody
Street, you can't
shows it.
see them. Okay, so we got an AT&T antenna advisory. That's about it.
Right.
Yes, and Gilbert.
Mhm.
Any other topics, agenda items, complaints, happy news?
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Oh, that's what it sounds like.
If I wasn't here, I'll be down there.
Oh, really? Do
Are you
play
in
it?
You play in it?
I have played in it, but I'm not playing this year because of swinging conflicts. This is one.
What do you play?
Yeah.
Baritone sax,
No,
baritone
one,
horn, okay.
brass instrument.
Okay, well, I make a,
How are you?
yeah.
I'm fine.
You have all these papers.
I know.
Do you have
It's busy.
something you want to share or tell us or?
I'm enjoying my grandchildren. So a lot of dirty towels, beach towels.
Yeah, I'll bet.
But yeah, so I've been pretty busy with that. They come up quite a bit because they're only in Stone, so.
Been a good summer for it.
Yeah, it's been a
Yeah,
great
nice
summer.
hot summer.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I can't complain.
Have one more meeting, huh?
Yep, one more meeting.
Oh, we're gonna take you off or something.
You
Glass
can
of wine.
always go. You know, if you're available.
Could be another
You
Julie.
don't need to give them.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, they were good friends. We love having you.
Caroline Gada is was married yesterday. She's married on the 4th. She was somebody who was interested in joining. She came to a meeting or two.
I saw your congratulation email.
And yeah, so I was trying
Did
to.
she reply
stay
to you
in
about
touch.
it or no?
No, I mean,
Okay.
it was a week of her wedding.
Yes, you're pretty busy.
But,
Yeah.
I don't even know if she saw it, but maybe eventually she will. And
She
maybe
seems super
eventually she'll come back.
Yeah, I was gonna say, she seemed super enthusiastic when she came, so.
Yeah, except that she wasn't working then and she was, and then in between, she was interviewing and getting very close to getting a job. And after that, I didn't hear from her, so I assumed she got the job and was getting married. So she's,
Little bit of a transition period.
Similarly, I'm having a baby, obviously.
Yeah.
So I'll
Congrats.
be here,
no.
it's not hard to tell. So I'll be here probably September and October, and then November is when the baby's due. Then I'll be back in February.
Congratulations.
Noticed you know, I'm sitting right next to you. Oh, that's fabulous. You look so beautiful. You
Oh,
glowing.
thank
Oh,
you.
yeah.
It's a girl.
It's a girl.
Oh, yeah. That's good.
I guess I will say goodnight.
Okay, well, we're gonna just adjourn. I make a motion to adjourn.
Excellent.
I'll second that.
Second that. All in favor?
Aye.
If you oppose to adjourn? Nope. We are officially adjourned. I need a hammer.
Yeah.
Oh,
We
that's
have a space
right.
for her.
Oh, do we have a meeting for next month? Because it is Labor Day.
The only thing I think I missed was, since I started taking notes a little bit late, who made the motion for approving the minutes for the 8th?